All right, in terms of big titles for 2019 is concerned, one of the few titles that has not been mentioned as much as it should, mainly because of games like Kingdom Hearts 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and others taking the spotlight in relation to upcoming games, is basically Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove. Now, for those who are unaware, the Toe Jam and Earl series was really big back in the early 90s on the Sega Genesis, and basically the last game that we ever saw in the Toe Jam and Earl series came out, I believe, back in 2002, 2003. It was released as an Xbox exclusive. It was called Toe Jam and Earl 3 Mission to Earth. And basically, that game was actually, to some people, it was good. To others, they didn't like it because it diverted too far away from what, the first two games were like in relation to gameplay. So basically, that game had mixed reviews, but a lot of people liked the first and second game. In fact, it's been said that this Toe Jam and Earl game will have the same type of gameplay that's similar to that of the very first game. The only thing is that basically Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove, the game will be viewed from a isometric viewpoint, which is something that is really interesting. And for those who have not seen actual screenshots of the game, it looks like something you'd see in an actual cartoon, something you'd see in Cartoon Network or whatever. But this game will be developed by Human Nature Studios and also published by them, except for the PS4 and Switch versions. Those versions of Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove will be published by Limited Run Games. And basically, when this game, when funding for this game first started, a lot of people didn't think it was actually going to reach its goal, and there were some people who couldn't believe that there was a fundraiser going on for Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove. Now, if I can recall correctly, the goal was to reach 400,000 in fundraising, and they managed to, they managed to surpass that and did over 500,000 in terms of fundraising. So they definitely surpassed their goal, and that basically shows you how popular the game was back in the early 90s and how nostalgia has played a significant role in basically reviving the series. Now, as far as the game itself is concerned, it should be noted that it'll have 9 playable characters. It'll also feature a 4-player co-op gameplay both online and locally. So those are definitely features in of itself that will make this game appealing to play and to have as an action platformer. Also, seeing that will be available on multiple consoles in 2019, there's no doubt that the sales for this game should definitely be somewhat impressive. Obviously the series has been around for a while, and there's so many big games that's supposed to be coming up next year. So I don't know. Hopefully, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove doesn't get overshadowed by the likes of Shenmue 3, Kingdom Hearts 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Final Fantasy 7 the remake, if it does come out in 2019. But yeah, Code Vein, there's so many games coming out in 2019, it's very easy for it to be overshadowed, but at the same time, it's one of those games that will stand out because it's a classic that's being basically it's a classic series that's basically being revived, and basically alongside with Streets of Rage 4, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove is basically going to be one of those games that will definitely turn the heads of retro gamers, and they'll definitely draw the interest of those who are not familiar with the series.